Hello friends, so today we are going to see the topic resistance thermometers and thermocouples. So under this topic we are going to consider that how the resistance element can be used for measurement of temperature and how the concept of thermoelectricity is used in thermocouple. Now let us consider a resistance thermometer. So this is another device which is used for measurement of temperature. So here the principle of this thermometer is that change in resistance of the conductor with change in temperature. So we already know that when we talk about resistance of the material, R is equal to rho L upon A. So here it is, rho is the resistivity, L is length of the conductor and A is area of cross section of the conductor. So resistivity rho of the material depends on temperature, and as the temperature of the material changes, its resistivity also changes. So it may positive or negative effect. That means with increase in temperature the resistance may increase or may decrease. It depends on the material which we are using. Now these resistance thermometers are also called as resistance temperature detectors, that is RTDs, and these thermometers are generally used in the range of minus 200 degrees Celsius to 1200 degrees Celsius. So here basically RTDs, that is resistance temperature detectors, are sensors that can be used to measure temperature by correlating the resistance of RTD element with temperature. That means we are going to see that we are going to use a concept that the change in temperature causes the change in resistance of the material. So here construction of RTDs, see, it consists of a fine coiled wrapped around a ceramic or glass core. So here a particular metal is used in the coil form and it is wrapped around a ceramic core or a glass core, because of that material may be a fragile, and in order to protect it we are wrapping it in a ceramic or glass core. So generally the element used for forming these RTDs is made from a pure material, typically platinum, nickel or copper. These metals are used for this purpose. And finally the calibration is important. See, the calibration of an instrument is basically, it involves the measurement of RT, that is the resistance at temperature at various known temperatures. So during calibration the temperature is varied and corresponding change in resistance is noted, and thereafter the device is calibrated that at what temperature what is the resistance of that particular device, and that is called as a calibration. So now the resistance, that is RT, measured at a particular temperature is related to that RT is equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha T plus beta T square. So where this R0 is resistance of platinum wire, here it is alpha and beta are the constant and T is the temperature of that particular RTD. Now let us talk about platinum resistance thermometer. So name itself indicates that the material platinum is used as a resistive element in this thermometer, and it is used for measurement of temperature. So it is called as a platinum resistance thermometer. basically it is used for accurate measurement of temperature, and the material has predictable change in the resistance. That means as the temperature changes, its resistance changes. But most important thing is that for accurate measurement it is used because of the change in the resistance is linear and reliable for considering for the application of measurement of temperature. So platinum has very linear resistance. That means as the temperature increases, linearly resistance increases, or as the temperature decreases, even the resistance decreases linearly. So that is an important property of platinum, which is very important for considering platinum as a resistance thermometer. Similarly, the R and T, that is resistance and temperature relationship, is highly repeatable over wide range of temperature. So that is one of the most important characteristics for selecting platinum for the RTD purpose. So now here, depending on a different structure, there are types of platinum resistance thermometer. So these are either the element is in the form of thin film, that is a thin film type, or it is in the form of a wire wound type, or it is in a coil type. So these are the types of platinum resistance thermometer. Now the range of platinum resistance thermometer lies between minus 272.5 degrees Celsius to 961.78 degrees Celsius. And as we know that platinum is a chemically inert material, so no chemical reaction can affect the linearity of measurement of temperature using this platinum resistance thermometer. Now the change in electrical resistance is used to determine the temperature. So the basic concept is that when temperature changes, the electrical resistance of this platinum resistance thermometer changes, and that change in resistance causes a corresponding change in either current or voltage in the circuit, and that is proportional to change in temperature. So this concept is used in platinum resistance thermometer. In case of this platinum resistance thermometer, the relationship between temperature and resistance is given by, that is RT, where resistance at temperature T is equal to R0, that is R0 is resistance at 0 degrees Celsius, into 1 plus alpha T, where alpha is temperature coefficient of resistance and T is the temperature which is being measured. So for platinum, we know that alpha, that is a temperature coefficient of resistance, is 3.85 into 10 raised to minus 3 ohm per degree Celsius. That is what a change in resistance of platinum material per degree Celsius, that is a change, and accordingly due to this change there is a variation in potential or voltage in the circuit or current in the circuit. So let us talk about the construction. That is, a platinum resistance thermometer consists of a long platinum wire in a double spiral to avoid inductive effect. So it is in the form of double spiral because of it can avoid the induced EMF effect in the resistance thermometer, and the wire is wound on a mica frame. So here it is shown that this is the platinum resistance thermometer, and here the platinum element is wound on the particular core, and here it is the two connections of platinum resistance wire is connected to bridge. Here the Wheatstone bridge is used for measurement of voltage, which is the change in voltage corresponding to change in temperature. So here it is in Wheatstone bridge arrangement. Here it is R1, R2, R3 and R4. 4 resistances are there. One of the arm is actually an element of platinum resistance which is connected here, and as the temperature changes, so obviously this element is in contact with the system whose temperature is to be measured or it is being changed. So obviously the temperature of resistance element changes, platinum resistance element changes, and due to that the resistance changes in the circuit, which imbalances the bridge, and obviously we get the deflection in the galvanometer, or we get a change in output voltage. So now using this Wheatstone bridge, now for given value of alpha and R0, it is a temperature coefficient that we know, and R0 is a resistance at 0 degrees Celsius temperature. The change in resistance can be found out with the help of Wheatstone bridge, and we know the balancing condition from the bridge is, as there are three resistance, that is R1 R2 upon R3 plus R4, but here we see that is R3 plus RT, so that is platinum resistance element is connected in this arm, and that is why its resistance is R3 plus RT. So as temperature changes, when the condition is balanced, so R1 upon R2 is exactly equal to R3 plus RT upon R4. But as there it is a variation in temperature which causes a change in resistance of platinum resistance thermometer, and that is why the balancing condition is imbalanced and we get a flow of current in the circuit. So getting value of RT and putting it in equation 4.3, we can determine the temperature. So here from this we can determine the temperature from the condition, balancing condition. So now here it is advantages of this platinum resistance thermometer. So see here it is, temperature measurement is easier as compared to the gas thermometers. So when we use this resistance thermometer, so as compared to gas thermometer, the measurement is easy. Second, wide range of temperature. That means using this temperature resistance thermometer, we can have a wide range between minus 200 degrees Celsius to plus 1200 degrees Celsius. The range is wide. So third important thing which we saw, that it has a linear characteristics. That means as there it is a rise in temperature, the linear rise or change in the resistance occurs. Similarly, when the temperature decreases, the similar change is occur or observed in the resistance of the thermometer. So as far as accuracy is concerned, accuracy is plus minus 0.15% accuracy. That means a good accuracy is observed. Then this resistance thermometer is highly sensitive and its installation is easy. So these are the advantages of platinum resistance thermometer, whereas it has some disadvantages, and that is a low response. That is what the first disadvantage. Then possibility of leakage current between resistance and the ground is there. So leakage current problem can give the variation in the output temperature or temperature measurement. So balancing of bridge takes time. So as Wheatstone bridge is there, so we need to balance the bridge, that is 4 arms we need to balance, and for balancing it takes a time for balancing. And the cost of platinum resistance thermometer is high. That is again one more disadvantage of this type of thermometer. Now let us consider thermocouple. So here it is, thermocouple uses a principle of thermoelectricity. So what does it mean? That suppose two dissimilar metals forms a junction, or say both end of the two dissimilar metals, both ends are connected or welded together, then they form two junctions, and as the metals are dissimilar, due to temperature gradient, the potential difference or thermo EMF is produced in that circuit. So that is what a thermoelectricity, and thermocouple uses this principle. So that is what change in thermo EMF is proportional to the change in temperature difference between two thermo junctions of the thermocouple. So here, when we talk about working principle, it is based on three effects. See, in case of thermocouple, first understand, suppose this is one metal, say this is metal A, and say let us consider this is another metal B. So let us consider this metal is A and single line it shows B metal. So if these two metals are welded together, now they are forming junction. Here it is material A, and it is material B. Okay, so here junction of AB is formed, and if these two junctions are kept at different temperature, suppose it has temperature T1 and it has temperature T2. So if the temperatures are different, then the potential or thermo EMF is generated. That is what thermoelectricity, and that is what based on principle of thermoelectricity. Now when we talk about working principle of thermocouple, it is based on three effects. So first effect is, as we saw, that is a Seebeck effect. That means, as I told you, when two different or unlike metals are joined together, as shown here, at two junctions, an electromotive force EMF is generated at two junctions. So at both junctions EMF is generated, causing current flow in the circuit. So as there it is a electromotive force generated between these two junctions, so obviously the current will start to flow from higher potential to lower potential, and without connecting external battery, here we see that the electromotive force is generated, and which depends on the temperature. So as the temperature difference is larger, there will be larger potential difference. So the amount of EMF generated is different for different combination of metals. So obviously it depends on the metal A used or metal B used. If you change the combination of metal A and B, or various metals are used, then the amount of EMF generated will change. So that is what Seebeck effect. So in case of Seebeck effect, note that if two metals are connected in this fashion, that means they form two junctions, and if the two junctions are kept at different temperature, then current flows in the circuit. That is what is Seebeck effect. Now second is a Peltier effect. So when current I is passed through junction, so now here it is, in case of Peltier effect, remember that. So here what it says, that current I is passed through junction of two dissimilar metals. So there are two dissimilar metals and junctions are there, and if current is passed through it, the heat is either absorbed or released. So here in earlier case we saw, as the temperature is changed, the electromotive force, consequently the current flows in the circuit. Here it is, if we allow to flow current in the circuit, so heat is either absorbed or released depending on the direction of current. So here it is a reverse case. So the effect finds application in thermoelectric refrigeration. So that is what Peltier effect. So in this case, instead of changing temperature, we are allowing current passing through the junctions of two dissimilar metals, and it is observed that heat is either absorbed or released depending on the direction of current. That is what second Peltier effect. Similarly, there it is a third effect that is called as a Thomson effect. So see here it is, in case of Thomson effect, when two ends of single metal, so remember that there it is a single metal wire is taken or bar is taken, and if two ends of single metals are joined together forming a junction, then potential exists within the circuit due to temperature gradient. So remember that this is a wire having certain length L. So if we connect the both end of the wire together, then here the potential exists within the circuit due to temperature gradient, as temperature from one location to another location of the wire is different, so temperature gradient is there, and due to that temperature gradient along the entire length of the conductor, we observe that potential exists. So this effect is called as a Thomson effect, and thus Thomson effect refers to the EMF that develops between two parts of a single metal when they are at different temperature. So the single metal is there, but as the parts are different, obviously the temperature are different, and if there it is a change in temperature from one part of the metal to the another part, then due to temperature gradient we observe that the potential is developed. That is what third effect, that is a Thomson effect. So these are three basic effects related with the thermocouples. In most of the cases, the EMF suggested by Thomson effect, as we saw now, is very small, and it can be neglected by making proper selection of metals. So if you select a proper metal, then the Thomson effect can be neglected. It is negligible. Now let us consider working of thermocouple. So we saw that is first thermocouple consists of two dissimilar metals. Here I have shown wire 1 with red color and wire 2, that is a different material, with blue color. So these are two different metals. Now this is a end point Q which is at temperature T2. This is one junction, and here that junction is hot junction, and now here it is another junction is actually between this point and this point. But now for functioning of thermocouple, in order to measure the voltage, so this end is cut, and here the both ends are kept at particular reference temperature. So that is temperature T1. So here temperature T1 is, remember that is, it is a reference temperature. Now that temperature is fixed, and as then these two terminals are connected through copper wire to the voltmeter. So when the temperature of both the ends are same, remember that both ends are same, that means temperature of the red wire as well as temperature of blue wire all are same, then there is no flow of current in the circuit because of equipotential points are there, and we do not get any kind of deflection or flow of current in the circuit. But as the temperature of this junction, that means now this junction is at suppose higher temperature and it is fixed at reference temperature. So between this junction and these points, there it is a change in temperature, and as we know that if there it is a change in temperature, then there it is the flow of current in the circuit. That is what the so here it is, when we talk about thermocouple, it consists of two dissimilar metals that we saw, A and B. Then two wires are joined together to form two junctions, as we saw here it is, this is a junction 1, and even if we connect this and this end, the second junction is formed. But in order to measure the voltage or taking output or use this as a temperature measuring device, we need to connect this arrangement, and so both ends are kept at reference temperature and the wires are connected for connecting the voltmeter. Then here it is, both junctions are maintained at different temperature. So as I already told you, the temperatures of both the junctions should be different. If the temperature are same, then there will be no flow of current. So due to difference in temperature, the Peltier EMF is generated, and it is a function of temperature. So we already saw the Peltier effect. So that Peltier effect is EMF is generated, and which is actually a function of temperature. As temperature changes, this EMF is also change. So if the temperature of both junctions are same, equal and opposite EMF will be generated at both the junctions, and obviously the net current in the circuit will be 0. Now to use thermocouple for measurement of temperature, the most important thing is that for measurement of a temperature of particular body, it is important that one junction of the thermocouple, as we already saw this is a junction, one junction of thermocouple is connected to the body whose temperature is to be measured. That is one thing. And this junction is known as hot junction or measuring junction. And obviously another junction is connected to the body whose temperature is known. This junction is called as a cold or reference junction. And so this way we can organize this device for measuring the temperature of the unknown body. Here we see, here it is a voltmeter or current meter as per our requirement. Now the device for measuring the current or EMF is connected within the circuit of thermocouple. It measures the amount of EMF flowing through the circuit due to two junctions of the dissimilar metals maintained at different temperature. So here we know that the temperature of reference junction is already known. Now the unknown temperature is the temperature of the body which we are measuring. So obviously now the output obtained from thermocouple circuit is calibrated directly against the unknown temperature, and thus the voltage or current output obtained from thermocouple circuit gives the value of unknown temperature directly. So that is a calibration is needed. Now the thermocouple is calibrated. So when we talk about the calibration of thermocouple, so we need to calibrate the thermocouple. So thermocouple is calibrated by measuring thermo EMF at various known temperatures. So here the thermocouple is calibrated. The reference junction is kept at 0 degrees Celsius. That is first thing. And the result of this measurement can be represented by, so here it is, the result is that is E is equal to AT plus BT square. That is expression 4.10. See here it is A and B are constant and T is the temperature of hot junction. So there are few metals which are standard metals used in industry for the purpose of this kind of thermometer, and it contains the metals or pair, that is a Comel-Constantan is one of the metal pair which has, when we talk about electromotive force, it is about 7.5 millivolt and it works in the range of 40 degrees Celsius to 800 degrees Celsius. Another pair is iron Constantan which gives 5.5 millivolt and the range is 200 degrees Celsius to 1000 degrees Celsius. Similarly, Comel alumen gives 4 millivolt and it is in the range of working range is 200 degrees Celsius to 1200 degrees Celsius. So this way various metal pairs are used in the industry for practical purpose. The voltage is not generated at junctions of the two metals of the thermocouple, but rather along the portion of the length of two dissimilar metals that is subjected to a temperature gradient. So here remember that the potential generated is not at the junction, but it is along the metal or wire or element of the circuit. So that is what a potential gradient is there, and because of both lanes of dissimilar metal experience the same temperature gradient, the end result is measure of difference in temperature between the thermocouple junction and the reference junction. Similarly, as long as the junction is at uniform temperature, remember that it does not matter how the junction is made. It may be brazed, spot welded, etc. However, it is crucial for accuracy that the leads of the thermocouple maintain a well-defined composition. if there are variations in the composition of the wires in the thermal gradient region, maybe due to contamination, oxidation, etc. Outside the junction, this can lead to change in the measured voltage. So that is what, again, a problem you should think. Now for temperature measurement, so heat source can be replaced by the body of which temperature is to be measured, and corresponding EMF is generated in voltmeter that can be noted, and from the calibration curve of thermocouple one can determine the unknown temperature. So this way the functioning of thermocouple is there. So now here the advantages and disadvantages of thermocouple. See, advantages: the wire junctions can be, here it is very small, and obviously it needs very little heat to warm it, and obviously the response is very quick and can be used for very small and precise location. That is what one of the important advantage. Second, we know that in this case the output is in electrical form, and as we know that as output is in electrical form, we can use it for the recording purpose, as well as we can use it to control other equipments electrically. So that is another advantage of this. And third one is, so if we select a proper material or proper metals, so using particular pair of metal, we can even use it for measuring temperature about 2500 degrees Celsius. Just like using tungsten molybdenum thermocouple, it has wide operating range. So these are advantages of this kind of thermocouple. So here in case of thermocouple, we know that one junction is hot junction and another junction is cold junction. So when we use it for measurement of temperature, for accurate measurement, so as one junction is a cold junction, now in order to get accurate reading, to avoid the error in cold junction temperature, the temperature of the terminal are measured by thermistor or RTDs. So for accurate result and accurate measurement, we need to use thermistor or RTD for measurement of temperature of cold junction. That is what one disadvantage. Second, as the output is in the millivolt range, so obviously the millivolt level output requires additional complexity of carefully designed electronics, both for cold junction reference and amplification of small signals. So as the output level is very small, so we need to design the circuit accurately and carefully so that it can be properly measured. Third one is, low voltage signal is susceptible to noise, and obviously interference from surrounding electrical devices creates a problem while measuring the voltage. So that is what another disadvantage. And next is the relationship between process temperature and thermocouple signal is not linear. So here that non-linearity or problem in linear relationship creates the problem. So that is what another disadvantage of thermocouple. So the relationship between process temperature and thermocouple signal is not linear, and that is again one disadvantage of thermocouple. Okay, thank you very much.